So this was the sign convention for EMF. Now similar to this, we have another sign convention for the potential drop across the resistors. Okay, so for potential drop across the resistors, if we'll consider a resistor R, okay, with a current flowing through it as I, okay, and suppose the direction of the loop in which we are traversing coincides with the direction of the current that is flowing through the resistor. In that case, the potential difference would be negative, okay, because we are moving the direction of decreasing potential. Okay, so here in this case, since the direction of the loop which we have assumed and the direction of current is same, the potential drop across the resistor would be negative. This is the sign convention for potential drop. The other case would have been the direction of the current and the direction of the loop in which we are moving are opposite to each other. In that case, the potential drop would have been negative. Okay, sorry, in that case the potential drop would have been positive. So these are the two sign conventions. One is for the EMF and the other one is for the potential drop. Okay. Now by using the combinations of these conventions and the algebraic and the law for Kirchhoff's voltage law, we can write the voltage equations for the loops, for different loops of this electrical network. Okay, now suppose I consider this loop 1. Okay, now if we'll encounter this loop 1, we can see, suppose I assume that the direction in which we are traveling is a clockwise direction. Okay, let us start with the point A. Okay, while moving from point A to B, the first element to be encountered is the resistance R2. Okay, now in this resistance R2, the current which is flowing through R2 is I2. Okay, and the direction of the loop and the current, both of them coincides. So applying, suppose we apply KVL to loop 1. Okay, so since the first element is R2 and in this case the direction of the current and the direction of loop both coincides, so the potential drop would be negative. So potential drop is IR minus I2R2. The next element to be encountered is the EMF. Now while traversing the loop, the first electrode is negative and then the positive electrodes comes. That means the EMF which we'll be taking would be positive, because while moving, negative electrode comes first, negative terminal of the cell comes first and then the positive. So the EMF has to be taken as positive. So the EMF would be plus even. Okay. The next element is here, it's the resistance R1. In this, the current is flowing from right to left and the direction of loop is also from right to left. That means the directions coincide. So in that case, the potential drop would be negative. So here it will be getting the current multiplied by the resistance, and the algebraic sum of all this is equal to 0. This is as per Kirchhoff's voltage law. So from here we can get that the EMF is equal to the potential drop across the resistors. Okay, so this is what is based on conservation of energy, and this is Kirchhoff's voltage law or loop law or Kirchhoff's second law. Okay. Now what is the use of Kirchhoff's voltage law and current law is to determine the value of unknown currents or potentials across the resistors for a complex circuitry, wherein Ohm's law is very difficult, okay, to solve for that same numerical. Okay. Now in order to understand the importance of the Kirchhoff's voltage and current law, we'll just we'll just give a very small, very simple numerical and solve for the various currents in the branches by using KVL and KCL. Okay, so this is the electrical circuit, and we are required to determine the current that is flowing through each of the resistors in the circuit. That is, suppose first we'll assume the current that is flowing in this. Let us assume that the current that is flowing across 10 ohm resistor is I1, current that is flowing in the 15 ohm resistor is I2, and the current flowing in 20 ohm resistor is I3. Okay, so we need to determine the value of I1, I2 and I3. Now here the circuit contains two voltage sources, each having a value of 12 volts. Now we'll use Kirchhoff's current law and Kirchhoff's voltage law to determine the values of the current. Okay. Now since here we have three unknowns, I1, I2 and I3, we need three equations. Okay. We need at least three equations to solve for these three unknowns. So in order to get the equations on in these three unknowns, we'll be applying KCL and KVL. Okay. But before applying KCL and KVL, we need to determine where is the junction of the loop. Okay, where is the junction in the electrical network and the loop for the electrical network. Okay. Now as we can see, this point corresponds to the junction. Okay. So since two or more conductors intersect here, okay, or two or more conductors passes through this point, so this point and this point of an electrical network are the junctions for the electrical network. So we can apply KCL at these 2 points. Okay. So let us assume that we apply KCL at this point. Okay. So if we apply KCL to this point and using the sign convention as the incoming currents to be taken as positive and outgoing currents to be considered as negative, what we can write at this junction, the incoming current I1 positive minus the outgoing currents I2 minus I3 is equal to 0. So from here we can get I1. Okay, so this would give us our first equation. This is based on KCL. Okay, applying KCL at the junction. Okay, now suppose the next equation which we can obtain is by using KVL, by applying KVL. But before applying KVL, we need to assume the direction for the loop. Okay, the direction in which we will traverse the loop. So let us assume that for both the loops, okay, we assume a clockwise direction. Suppose this is our loop 1, okay, and this is loop 2. Okay. In both this loop, we have assumed the clockwise direction for traversing the loop. Okay. Now if we'll apply KVL in the first loop, okay, so applying KVL the first loop, okay, let us start from this voltage source. Okay, from this point we are moving in the clockwise direction. Now while moving through this, we encountered the negative terminal first and then the positive terminal. So since we are moving from negative, low potential to high potential, the EMF of the cell has to be taken as positive, okay, as per the sign convention which we just discussed earlier. Okay, so here it would be plus 12 volts. Okay. Here the next element to be encountered is the resistor. The direction of the loop and the current both coincides. So in this case, the potential drop across the resistor would be negative. So minus 10 I1. Okay. Then this resistor R2. Here again, the direction of the loop clockwise and the direction of the current I2 which is flowing through this resistor both coincides. So again the potential drop has to be taken as negative. So minus 15 I2 equals to 0. So from here we can get 10 I1 plus 15 I2 equals to 12. That would be our equation number 2. Okay. Now we have obtained two equations. Okay. In order to find for values I1, I2 and I3, we need one more equation. So we can apply the KVL to the second loop to get the third equation. So applying KVL in second loop or in loop 2, okay, suppose we start from at this point. Okay. Well, starting from this point, the first element to be encountered is the 15 ohm resistor. Now in this 15 ohm resistor, the direction of the current and the direction of the loop are in opposite direction. So in that case, the potential difference would be positive. So here it would be plus I into R. So the current that is flowing is I2 and the R is the value of the resistor is 15 ohm. So it would be plus 15 I2. Okay. The next element to be encountered is the 20 ohm resistor. Here the direction of the current and the direction of the loop both are in the same direction. So the potential drop will be negative. So we can write it as minus 20 I3. Next element is the EMF. We are moving from positive terminal of the cell to negative terminal. So in that case, as per the convention, the EMF has to be taken as negative. So it would be minus 12 equals to 0. That means 15 I2 minus 20 I3 equals to 12. This would be our equation number 3. Now if we'll look carefully in equation 1, 2 and 3, we have three unknowns, I1, I2 and I3, and we have three different equations. So we can solve for these three equations to obtain these three unknowns. Okay, so after solving these equations simultaneously, we can obtain the values of I1, I2 and I3. Okay, so after solving this, we obtained the value of I1. I1 was obtained as 0.369 amperes. I2 was 0.554 amperes, and I3 was minus 0.185 ampere. Okay. Now, if you look at the results carefully, you'll see that the value of I3 which we have obtained is negative. Now, what does this negative value of I3 indicates is that whatever is the sign convention assumed for, whatever is the direction assumed for I3, that the actual direction for the current is actually the opposite of that. That means the I3 is not going away from the junction, but actually I3 is coming inside the junction. That is what it means. Okay, so the advantage of this KVL and KCL, applying KVL and KCL, is that we can assume whatever direction of the current the user feels. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it is right or wrong, because at the end the only thing which counts is the magnitude of the current. Okay, and suppose if you have taken, like in this case, we have assumed the wrong direction of the current I3. Okay, but in the result that would give us a negative sign. The negative sign implies that the direction which we had assumed earlier is actually, it should be in the opposite sense. Okay, so this is the advantage of using KVL and KCL. That is, for a complex circuitry wherein we can't use Ohm's law directly, we can use these equations to solve for the unknown currents or the unknown voltages across the resistors of the complex circuitries.